Wait, let me explain something to you. I am not Mr. Lebowski. You're Mr. Lebowski. I'm the dude.
Why don't you make like a tree and get out of here?
Now I'm here to answer any questions you children may have about the monorail.
Me! Can it outrun the Flash?
You bet.
Can Superman outrun the Flash?
Sure, why not?
Time for Full Court Press with Connor. He has hot takes from In the Paint, tough picks from the top of the key, and the best scoops on the NBA from downtown.
Yeah, we've got him, Connor, in with the Full Court Press. Con, how you doing?
Not too bad. Lots of NBA action to talk about.
There's so I don't want to talk particular teams or games around it. There's some headlines here that I just want to bounce off you and tell me what to think. So Luka gets it handed to him. Him and the Lakers get it handed to him by Oklahoma City. And when Luka gets in, they want to talk to him, and he's being asked about this Harrison getting fired. Harrison is the guy who made the worst trade in NBA history to move Luka to the Lakers. I seriously tell you, the NBA made that happen, but they fired him. They fired this guy. Now, he's got 10 games under his belt since that happened. Was he a sacrificial lamb? How does this guy go? And what does Luka give a crap?
I don't know about whether or not the NBA made it happen or not. I'm obviously, LA having possibly the best player in the world on their team is good for business. But I think regardless, it was a horrible trade for the Mavericks. I mean, clearly you picked up Anthony Davis, who's always been injury prone, who's continuing to be injury prone. A first round pick who's okay, but certainly not a known commodity like Luka Doncic. And, the Lakers are playing really pretty well with Luka, an injured LeBron and everything. So Nico Harrison. Definitely a horrible decision and strange. Whether or not, again, he was forced to do it or not, I can't comment.
If you and I know it was that horrible decision the second it happened, the ownership had to know it was a horrible decision. You tell him, no, we're not doing this, or you did it behind my back, you're fired now. What's waiting 10, 12 games into the next season do for you?
Yeah, I think they hoped that the Cooper flag was going to turn into this monster, and they were going to have a really good start to the season. And turns out Anthony Davis has been hurt again, and Cooper's not been playing bad, but not good enough to be relevant.
Yeah. All right. The other news story today: Jokic puts up 55. You flipping kidding me? I think he missed 5 shots the entire game. This kid's in good shape now. Watch out. Am I lying? That was unbelievable.
Yeah, I mean, it's very clear, that we're going to have more or less the same MVP race that we've had in the last, however long, 3-4 years. I thought that Jokic should have won the MVP last year. He is already, again, in my opinion, should be the front runner. He's not right now, but I think he should be. He's unbelievable. I mean, think about what it takes to lead the league in rebounds. If you look at that list, it's him, it's Wemby, who we're going to talk about with the Spurs, then it's a bunch of centers which all they do is be 7'2" and rebound. They don't score. All they do is they're there to pick the ball off the boards, and they lead in that category as well as Jokic is also leading in the league in assists, and he's like 4th in scoring at 28 points a game. We have not seen somebody like this except prime LeBron. In the league
we have Gobi. Period. We pay Gobi $100 million to stand there and be tall, and he, assist. Don't worry about it. Anything but rebound. Okay, you brought up LeBron. LeBron is practicing with the G League for the Lakers. I do not believe this has to do anything with whatever it was, his sciatica nerve. I believe he wants to play more basketball with his son, and he's expecting him there at any moment.
Oh, wow. Conspiracy theory. I saw what I thought was pretty
Ronnie's
funny.
Coming.
A notification that he now has a 99% chance of winning the G League MVP. And I'm like, he's not going to be there that long. You really think that's crazy? Yeah, some betting markets were saying he was going to win the MVP for the G League. Yeah, LeBron is clearly slowing down. He made some comments. He made that weird video release where he was making it seem like he was announcing retiring and he was announcing coming back for a season. I think we're seeing the very end of LeBron here. This could be the last season. I take that back. He would do his farewell tour, so I'm guessing next year will be his last year.
So I want to throw this at you. It's a bone. He's done this before. Steph Curry, after the Dubs were raked over the coals by OKC, and we'll talk about them, comes out, shoots 46. He was prime Curry, but he's been there 17 years. Draymond's all mad. The team doesn't seem to want to play hard. Where are the Dubs? I mean, Steph's still Steph. He did against the Spurs. He had a 7-foot guy sometimes trying to block his shot. He was on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, Steph has been essentially in form. 25, 26, 27 points a game, shooting a high clip from three as he's done for a decade, more than that. The reality is the team is just not as competitive right now as it was in the West years ago. Jimmy Butler's still playing pretty well. The frustration from Draymond is the younger guys kind of giving up. Jonathan Kuminga continues to be a weird kind of sore spot for them. Sometimes he flashes like he's going to be an all-star in the league, and then sometimes it's like, do you even want to be in the league? Which is part of the frustration. I think Jimmy and Draymond both commented on him here recently. So, they've struggled to find that gel. Again, I thought that they needed to go and try and bring Kevin Durant back. And he ended up going to Houston and signing a contract, and now he's going to be there, and they're obviously having some success too. So I think you missed the boat on that. I think the last chance they're going to have to try and, win games at a high clip again and become a competitor is if they win the Giannis sweepstakes when he leaves Milwaukee.
All right. Let's just go down to the East rather quickly if we can. We'll save the West. Lots going on there. Are the Detroit Pistons for real? What happened there?
Yeah,
10-2?
Honestly, yeah, they are. Cade Cunningham is an unbelievable player, a 6'7" point guard, scoring over 27 a game, shooting an awesome clip. His supporting cast has been pretty good as well. Their center has been playing really well, lots of good rebounding. They're gritty. They're right at the top of the East and in the league in offensive and defensive rating. That's Jalen Duren is the center, playing awesome. Stuart Thompson is another strong player for them at the wing position. So they really just kind of put it together. Cade obviously is the number one guy there. That's what happens when you're the worst team in the league, especially in the NBA for 4 or 5 years. You win 5 games a year or 10 games a year. You pick up a couple of those really high picks, and it's crazy how quickly things turn around. Right now, it's interesting because a lot of the kind of more consistent top teams in the East have faded a bit. The Celtics are decimated with injuries, and they're absolutely getting clobbered all year. Cleveland continues to be strong, and New York is strong, but Philadelphia, Atlanta, Miami, these are teams that we haven't talked about in a while. Milwaukee, middle of the pack, So
don't you have to watch? Don't you have to watch the Knicks right now? They're 7-4, but Brunson went out with a big ankle injury. He could be on for a while, and he runs that squad. They could drop, but the Bucks surprised me. But again, I think Giannis wants out, and Boston until they get healthy. I guess Cleveland. The other one, could the 76ers be back?
I think so. Embiid again has been more consistent, but still continues to always have health issues. He's definitely not at the MVP level he was, whatever that was 3 or 4 years ago. But Edgecombe, the young guy there, has been playing fantastic. They've got kind of a strong group of young players that are obviously all playing really, really hard. Paul George is nothing to shake a stick at, although he's been hurt. Yep. Kyle Lowry's there. They've got, and Tyrese Maxey has been a good player for a long time. They've got a good blend right now of vets and young guys that want to prove themselves. I don't know if Philadelphia has the staying power. I think probably not, but I do think Detroit does. And I think that you're looking at probably the top 2 teams in the East right now is Detroit and Cleveland.
And just to slam the bottom rung, Brooklyn, Indiana Pacers, the Washington Wizards, they are 11 games into the season and 8.5 and 9 games back. Who's going to go to any of those places to watch basketball? That is unbelievable.
The Indiana Pacers is a really sad story. Obviously, Tyrese Halliburton, their perennial all-star, breaks his leg essentially. In the last game of the NBA Finals last year, he's out all season. I mean, he's basically not going to touch a basketball. They've got like 5 or 6 other players that are on injured reserve as well. I mean, they're absolutely decimated, and they will have 0 chance of being relevant this year through basically no fault of their own. They were definitely a great team last year. It's really sad to see that. Those other teams, kind of bottom dwellers. Again, you'll look for them to be relevant in 5 years.
All right, got to go to break. When we come back, we talk everything about the West. We've got them. Connor's Full Court Press.
This season, bring the whole family to see Irving Berlin's White Christmas. This smash hit musical based on the classic film returns by popular demand to delight you at Chanhassen Dinner Theaters. With loads of laughter and a stunning showcase of Irving Berlin songs, White Christmas is a celebration of the romance, friendship, and magic of the holidays. Make your plans today to see White Christmas. Visit chanhassendt.com.
Braver Angels Minnesota is part of a national movement that brings together conservatives, liberals, independents, and others to restore trust, respect, and goodwill in politics. We seek not to eliminate our differences, but rather deal with them head on, with respect and understanding. We do not try to change people's views, but how they view the other side. There will always be differences. Braver Angels Minnesota believes the best way forward is to change how we deal with those differences. Join the civil conversation at mn.braverangels.org.
It's nice to know a guy that knows a guy. Al Travis.
You want to talk NBA, you get the NBA guy in here. It's Full Court Press with Connor. Connor, I'm having a hard time with basically my Timberwolves staying exactly the same, right? I mean, you get to the top four, I understand how much you want to change. We'll gel more. I get the concept. Oklahoma City did basically the same thing, but they won. We're going to stay the same. Lock the same people in as we had last year. Holy crap. Oklahoma City is for sure. If I'm doing the math right, they're on pace to have a 73-74 win season. I mean, it's unconscionable what they're doing to everybody in this league. They're exactly the same team. Didn't the other teams pick it up enough? Or is this really one of those kind of teams?
Well, Oklahoma City definitely is for real. Clearly the best team in the league still. They're young. They have no reason to slow down. And it really starts with defense, as much as people don't realize that. They play great team ball. They don't turn the ball over. That's one thing I will say has been improved for the Timberwolves so far this season, which I would contend is why their record is better than it was last year. They've reduced the turnover significantly. They're now in the middle of the pack instead of the second or third worst turnover team. But the Oklahoma City just doesn't make mistakes. They've obviously got, right now, probably the best scorer in the league, although he's not quite leading the league anymore in scoring, year to date. But Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is unbelievable and going to continue to be.
Okay. Then you got Denver. You got Jokic. Can he hold that team up and continue to do what he's doing? They're 9-2. If you told me 11 games in, you'd be 9-2, they would have jumped all over it. They're just 2 games back, which is also quite remarkable without, Oklahoma City's played. Can he continue to do what he does and keep that franchise alive?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, he's facilitating like you wouldn't believe. Jamal Murray's healthy and playing well. Aaron Gordon also playing well. His supporting staff has kind of finally shown up again. Last year was kind of a weird one where they just didn't feel like they were gelling right, didn't feel like they were playing well. But to me, he's the MVP, clearly. Even though they're not 12-1, even though he's not quite leading in all the points, like, again, this is going to be the fourth or fifth year in a row where I think he does absolutely more than anyone else in the world on the basketball floor. So unbelievable team. They're going to be really tough to beat. Again, I think the West is far and away more competitive than the East this year.
Well, and things have changed. Wemby, I told them they had to put 30 pounds on him. I think they have. He can still probably use some more. I was off there. But they are only going to go as far as Wemby takes him, right? If he has a bad shooting day, they're over. But right now they're 8-3, so the kid's come alive.
Well, I got to tell you, Wemby has absolutely done what we talked about preseason, which is he's got to average over 25 points a game. To become, kind of take that next step, you got to be a guy that can score constantly. All the highlights are the 6'6" guy or 7'6" guy, step back three. I mean, you can't build. I saw a thing the other day that said you can't even build a player like this in 2K. They won't let you. You can't do it in a video game. So he's averaging over 26 and 13 rebounds.
Yeah.
De'Aaron Fox has been great now that he's back from injury. And then Stefan Castle, the other guard that's playing there now, young guy at almost 19 points a game, playing awesome. So the Spurs have got it going on. Pop isn't directly coaching, but he's still involved in the organization, which is great. I think that the Spurs could be fantastic. I think Victor's probably one season off of being in the MVP hunt. They clearly, again, this is another example of a team that was a bottom feeder for several years. A good organization, though, that knows what they're doing, picked up Victor, who's just a complete unicorn. And I think that, again, big bodies like that can have a hard time staying healthy. But if he can do that, I mean, he's going to be a phenomenal player for the next 10 years.
Houston Rockets are all of a sudden somebody, you put KD on that squad, there's somebody to play with, right?
Yeah, I mean, they moved things around a decent amount from last year when they were pretty competitive, but they were really a defensive kind of smash mouth rebounding team. Adding Kevin Durant obviously gives them some offensive gumption and makes them more dynamic. Got a lot of older but good big men, Steven Adams, Clint Capella. They've got a lot of stuff going on. And Jeff Green, pretty good young player. They've got potential to be very, very good. It'll be interesting to see how much they gel, though. Obviously they're off to a good start, 7-4, 7-3. It'll be interesting to see if they can keep that up.
All right, the Lakers, of course, with Luka and LeBron, but LeBron's been out. They've been hanging. Are they going to make a run at this if those both will get healthy? Where does Lakers end up in all this?
I don't know that LeBron is all that relevant, frankly. I think that he's clearly showing signs of old age, and people hate hearing that, but the guy's like 85, so let's just get over that. But Luka's, again, I still feel like probably the second best player in the world. Behind Doncic, I think he's next. No disrespect to Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, but Luka can still score. He's averaging 37 points a game when he plays. A little bit of load management going on already. I know that they think that they're going to run deep in the playoffs. This is a better Lakers team, in my opinion, than we've seen. DeAndre Ayton getting added, good big man. Marcus Smart's on the team now. I mean, they really do have a lot of good pieces, not including Bronny James. We don't have to go there, though. Otherwise, I mean, it's really a pretty good team, which is scary.
All right, talk to me about my Wolves. 7-4. I believe 3 of these games are just absolute bottom dwellers. We played Sacramento, Utah twice. We're going to play Sacramento again. You got to win the teams you got to win. So, I mean, I'm not ripping them on that, but I don't know we've played anybody to anybody that would say, see, we can hang. Are you good with the Minnesota Timberwolves as they sit right now?
I mean, again, I don't necessarily think a roster shakeup is needed. Anthony Edwards is playing well. Julius Randle has stepped up compared to last year, which is great to see. Jaden Daniels kind of back in form. 2 seasons ago, I think he felt really, really strong. Last year, felt like he wasn't quite in rhythm. So he's back again. I like Dante DiVincenzo starting and having Conley come off the bench. I've always been a Mike Conley guy since he was a Grizzly. I really like him. Wily vet. Good for him to come off and be with the second unit. Naz Reid, thank goodness we paid him. We were worried we were going to lose him.
Yep.
It's awesome to have him to come in as well. We still continue to be disappointed in Rob Dillingham not really playing. It feels like maybe that's not going to change. So it is what it is. Again, I don't think that there's a big roster change that's needed. Right now, it's basically the exact same team other than we've stopped turning the ball over. Last year, we basically turned the ball over twice as much as we have so far this year. So again, if we can stay middle of the pack there, and if our guys can continue to do what they're doing from a scoring standpoint, play a little bit of good defense, I think we can find ourselves in the hunt again.
All right, I only have 1 minute left, so let me know. I want to jump down to the Golden State Warriors. I believe they have the talent on the team. They're getting older. They don't have many more runs left. Are they going to be okay this year?
I think they're going to be okay. I think that's really where it's at. This isn't like 22 where I said they're going to win and they were the bottom of the West when I said it, and then they did win. That isn't that feeling. I think there's a chance Klay Thompson comes back because it looks like he's going to get traded because he's not playing well. I think he comes back, probably still comes off the bench, frankly. They are one piece away from being relevant again. As much as Steph is still fantastic, they just don't have a dual threat right now. Jimmy Butler's okay, but he's not a scorer. So I think that they need one more scoring threat to make them, a top 3 team. So they're not quite there yet.
All right. Gotta fly, my friend. I appreciate taking the time to do this. We'll see you in a couple of weeks. We'll talk some more. And be sure to brush up on your emerald green cup or whatever that thing is we play in the middle of it.
We're right in the middle of it, Al. Can't you feel the tension and the excitement?
I always feel something, but it's when I'm looking at that lime green floor and it's a little trying to keep my lunch back.
You don't like fancy colors. You don't. You're more of a gray and
I'm a gray and black guy.
Guy. Yeah.
Full Court Press with Connor on the Al Travis Show.